Finally, we are so close to E3, so I thought I would end these Road to E3 videos with my favorite of the big three and the one most of you most likely care about. Today, we're going to discuss Nintendo and what I would love to see while also going over what I think will happen. So sit back, relax, and let's talk Nintendo. First off, I just want to say that I am extremely excited for Nintendo's E3 for a few reasons. First off, we know for a fact that Nintendo will be showing off Super Smash Bros. For the Switch, but that's pretty much the only game we know will be there, and I've already made enough videos talking about that game. However, I think it's obvious as hell we're going to see an official release date for the game, which I still think is going to be September to launch alongside Nintendo Switch Online. I understand that's the popular theory that pretty much everyone is saying these days, but I do agree with the idea. Nintendo is going to want a large multiplayer game to launch with their online service, to sort of give you an incentive to subscribe into the service. I also think we'll be seeing about 3 newcomers coming to the game, with at least one of them being a third-party character. This was done with Super Smash Bros. On Wii U, so I can only assume the same model will be used here. Although it's just as possible they will do something entirely new. But the part of revealing newcomers, I feel, is obvious. It's simply how many and how they reveal them that might be different. Moving on from Smash Bros., I think it's also about time we will see a full reveal, gameplay and all, for the untitled Fire Emblem on Switch. We know the game is planned to release sometime this year, and I'd be surprised not to see this game at E3 considering we're basically going to be playing it relatively soon. But we know nothing about it. In fact, we know just as much about this game than we do Bayonetta 3 or Metroid Prime 4, and we won't be seeing those games in quite some time. Speaking of those two games, I also have a sort of negative view for those two. But honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if we don't see either of them. Considering they release next year, they could decide to wait further down the road to show them off, but it's certainly possible that we could still see them. I just don't think they really have to show them off since they're so far away from now. Although there is another game that we know of that is planned to release this year, and that's Yoshi, which we know a bit about, but really not much at all. I wouldn't be surprised to see another Yoshi trailer giving us its full name and maybe giving us a release date that would be very soon from now. If I had to wager a guess as to when, I'm thinking maybe August for Yoshi. June already has Mario Tennis, and July is already full with Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker and Octopath Traveler. So unless it's a game that I can't remember off the top of my head right now, I'm thinking August would be a good time for it to shine. That and, well, releasing it in September is kinda just asking for it to get buried. We'll also most likely see some new announcements for games that we didn't even know were in development, but it's honestly difficult to pinpoint what exactly those can be. I know personally I'd love to see a new Kid Icarus or maybe an F-Zero game, but the chances of those happening are pretty slim, if not just not happening. I think franchises that have proven themselves to Nintendo as profitable and haven't had a new game in a while are the most likely candidates for a new Switch game. What comes to mind is Animal Crossing. I think a new installment would make a ton of people happy, especially after the travesty that was this fucking steaming pile of horse shit.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that, Private Pile?
We also had the leak of Star Fox Grand Prix, and when it comes to these sort of things, I just tend to be skeptical to all kinds of rumors and leaks. So this is another one I'm not too sure on. I'm going to assume it won't be there, but truthfully, I really have no idea about this. Now, Pikmin is the franchise that I think is the most likely to show up any year now. I don't think we truly know when exactly, but it will though. Miyamoto said a long time ago that Pikmin 4 was in development, and that was before we even knew about the Switch. So it's most likely been ported to the Switch, considering that the Wii U is long dead. And if that's the case, when would we see it? Well, we don't really know how far in development the game is at this point in time. I mean, Miyamoto did say the game was, quote, very close to completion in 2015. I doubt it takes 3 years to finish that small bit that was left and port it to the Switch. Maybe I'm wrong, but that just seems like a lot of time to do what's basically a game that's close to completion and porting it. And that seems like a really long time for that. So I feel like the game may have gone through an overhaul of some kind, or maybe has been drastically changed for whatever reason that Miyamoto could possibly come up with. Some kind of third-party representation will take part as well. Usually people only think about Nintendo games when thinking about their E3 presentation, which is fair, but you also gotta remember that third parties are important as well. Keep in mind that last year they did start the show by announcing Rocket League was coming to the Switch, so I think we may see something very similar this year. Two games in particular come to mind, considering that there have been some slight data leaks or some kind of rumor for a Switch version. I'm not too sure about whether or not those rumors are true, obviously, but if they are, that means we may see either Paladins or Fortnite on the Switch. And regardless of what you think about those two games, I'll be happy to see them on the console. The Switch barely has any free-to-play games, so with two of the biggest ones out there coming to the console, that would just be an amazing thing to have on the go, and I know for a fact I personally would download both of them and play both of them. Other than games being shown off and announced, we may also see some new content for games we're already playing. Considering we haven't seen a release date for Splatoon 2's Octo expansion, and we also have the Splatoon 2 World Championships going on at E3, we're probably going to get a release date for that. Mario Odyssey may also get some DLC content in some fashion, or maybe a release date of that Donkey Kong DLC for Mario plus Rabbids. I'm sure we will see some kind of new amiibos for some of the upcoming games, and this kind of terrifies me. Not because I dislike amiibos or anything like that, it's just I own all of the amiibos for Smash 4, and I don't think I'm ready to buy like 50 something more. I think that about covers everything Nintendo related when it comes to their E3 presentation. But before I end this video, I did want to announce something publicly for the first time. It probably isn't a big deal, but I'm pretty hyped for it, and this video is my last scheduled video before E3 officially starts. So I thought I'd announce it here and now. This year's E3 is the first E3 that I will personally be attending. Me and a group of friends will be heading out to LA and experiencing the entire thing, and I seriously couldn't be more excited. So you might be thinking, what does that have to do with you guys? Alright, so I'll tell you. So the plan is that a friend of mine will be recording as much as we can of the experience, and I'll do my best to edit the entire thing and show you guys our experience there. Now, I'm just some regular fuck with no connections whatsoever, so you can think of it as what the average person would probably experience making that trip to E3. If all goes to plan, we should have a video on the channel for each day of E3. So keep in mind that puts us in a massive time crunch, and I'm the only editor here, so it'll be a challenge for myself. So all I ask is for your understanding if things go south. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say. So thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to in this year's E3. The next time you see me, I'll be in LA. I'll talk to you guys real soon.